I'm Kate, and this is Ashley, and we're the Meeple's Republic.
So today we're going to talk to you about a game. It's Dungeon Roll by Tasty Minstrel Games. Dungeon Roll is a dicey dungeon delve dripping with danger.
What she means is that it's a dice rolling game for 1 to 4 players that runs from 15 to 30 minutes.
So first we'll tell you what you get in this cool little box. So you get the rule booklet. You get some player cards that tell you what's going down during the game. You get a whole bunch of really cool dice. So these die here are for the adventurer, and those die over there are for the dungeon lord. You get a bunch of different heroes that you get to choose from. And there's a really cool little hero book that explains a little bit about each hero. So it's not just some art on a card. There's a little bit of flavor text there. You get a whole bunch of experience point tokens, and those are going to be what you want to collect a bunch of to win the game. And you get a bunch of treasures.
And because we backed this game on Kickstarter, we have a whole bunch of extra dice and extra character cards to play with, which you won't get in the retail version.
So, this is how you play. At its core, Dungeon Roll is really a game that's just about throwing dice. Everyone plays as adventurers, trying to get into the dungeon to get as many experience points as possible. Those are what you use to win the game. Starting off, you roll your die, and this forms your party. So all of these die here are the companions that you use while you're going into dungeon.
When it's not your turn, you're playing as a dungeon lord, trying to foil the other player's attempt to get further and further into your dungeon and gain those experience points. You get a whole whack of die, but the number depends on how far they've gotten into your dungeon. For the first round, you only get to roll 1 die. Yes.
Okay, so these are all the different members of your party. You could have a champion, a mage, a fighter, a cleric, a thief, or a scroll.
And these are the things that you can encounter in the dungeon. Dragons, an ooze, a goblin, a skeleton, a treasure chest, and potions.
This doesn't make a lot of sense right now. It'll make more sense when you start to play. But what's happening is you're going to use particular party die against the Dungeon Lord's die. Right now you'll notice that some of the colors match, and that tells you where it's advantageous to use a particular die. For example, a mage can kill 1 goblin. However, if there are a whole bunch of oozes out, a mage can kill all of them. So we also talked about these cards. So these are your hero's special abilities. You've got a specialty that you can use once per level, and you've got an ultimate ability that you can use every delve. So when you're playing the game, as a player, your turn is 1 delve, but there are multiple levels that happen within that turn.
So we're going to fast forward. We're going to show you what 1 level of the dungeon delve will look like. And we're going to go to level 3, because that's our favorite number, and that's where we are right now. Because it's level 3, I have 3 dungeon dice to roll.
All right! Okay, so I'm going to take care of these die. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a fighter to kill this goblin. So during your phase, you have to take care of the monsters first. Second part of my phase, I can now loot. I'm going to actually use this thief to open this treasure chest, and this is super fun, and this is something we really like about the game, is I actually get to pull treasure out of the treasure chest.
Let's hope it's something stupid.
Yeah!
A ham hock!
It's dragon bait, yo. So that's also explained on the player aid cards. They tell you what your companions do and also how the treasures work. And then the last thing is the potion, and I'm actually just going to leave the potion as it lies and move on to the next level.
So now she's on to level 4. This means I get 4 dice to roll.
Oh, we start all over again.
At the end of a level, when you realize you don't have enough champions to successfully go to the next one, that's when you collect your experience points. Unless you're a riskier player and you keep going, in which case, if you die, you don't get any experience points.
So talking about experience points, we're actually going to talk about components now, and we'll touch on these first. So these are the experience tokens. And we like a lot of things about this game. The one thing we don't like are that the experience tokens are double-sided. Now, for most people, it's not a problem, but if you're the sort of person who fidgets, or you sometimes randomly, clumsily knock things over, sometimes the experience tokens get mixed up, and you'll forget whether you had a 1 or a 3. Minor thing, just one of our quips.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that we slightly dislike about the components is the box itself. This box, the design is from the Kickstarter project, so the retail box is a different color, but essentially the build is the same. The thing that we dislike most about it is that the hinge is just made from a sticker. As you can tell from us opening it, the back is already going to fall off soon.
Other than that, though, we do really like the game, and component-wise, we love these dice! So good!
And it's really thematic that you can actually pull out treasures from a treasure box. We really like this game because it's really fast and quick to play. Even in the beginning when you don't know what you're doing, it's still really fun.
But then once you've played it a few times, the great thing about this game is that it turns from just a dice rolling game to a strategy game. And then you really start to use that push your luck component. I played it quite a few times now, and I would definitely want to play it, because it's so quick, just to decide who gets to go first at another game. That's something that you normally use zombie dice for, but I way rather play this.
This is a little bit harder to teach than zombie dice, though, because there's so many options and so many components and so many different sides of the dice.
But once you already know how to play and you play with someone else who knows how to play, it's quick. 15 minutes, no problem. Good to go.
At its core, it's still a dice rolling game, so player interaction is minimal. Even though you get to play and roll the dungeon lord's dice when it's not your turn, you have very little input on how the other player's turn is going to go. For me, I think it's a great 2-player game, but when you get up to 4 players, there's a lot of sitting around and watching other people roll dice.
I disagree. I think as a 4-player game, it's still really fun, because when you're not rolling the dice as the dungeon lord, you can still egg other people on, tell the adventurer to go to the next level.
Chant dragon!
Chant dragon as the dungeon lord is rolling his die. Make treasure box noises as you're opening the lid. I think it's a really great game. I think you all should buy it.
I think it's very affordable and definitely worth your money.